And now I'm still wondering why I still have yeah. So, hello and welcome to, or welcome back to, the channel about the Nasdaq scalping bot. In this channel, I show you guys how I work with the bot, and if I make progression in making it a profitable bot. In this series of videos, we're now at episode 5, I show you how I created the bot in Python. It was my first Python project, so I learned a lot and I want to share it with you guys so you could learn from it too. And if you want to make your own bot and you want to program along, then you should have go back first to the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 before you arrive here at 5. In this video, we're gonna look at handle an existing contract. After we have opened a contract for the Nasdaq, we want to monitor if this is a successful contract. So if you want to see how I do this, stay tuned. And this contract, and this function called handle existing contract is a new function what we're going to look at today. We already had where it is handle a new contract in the phase of creating a contract, but now we also need to create the function to look at the contract as it is running. So we need a new function called handle existing contract. I'm going to copy it. We create a new function. Function calls with def and then paste into it handle new contract. And in handle and not a new handle existing contract is the place we're going to check for everything what's going on in the contract. I'm going to fetch the code for you and I'll be back in a sec. And there the code is. And as usual, I commented everything out so I can discuss every line with you to show you what I've done and why I've done it. And the first line you see is the while loop. And the while loop keeps on going while there is a contract open. So while there is continued true, this is being done. As soon as the contract is closed, or if the program just started, then of course it has no use to walk through this function. So it only works, it only does this thing when there is a contract open, and we can see that a contract is open by these continue. Then we have add a new candle. That's only a remark, but the next one is to fetch a new candle. So we're doing this now because we need a new candle, and we do this to give ourselves the new information in the update screen. The update of the screen will discuss this one later in the video, so just wait a few minutes, a couple minutes, and I will discuss the update of the screening. But for now we start with an array fetch candle, and it's followed by, of course, the increasement of the number of candles. Then I also needed for the update of the screen the current candle information. It's the current, the previous, and the oldest. Then we need to do the status check. This function returns to us a false after a stop loss, a take profit, or after 10 times he discovered that there is a positive or a negative position in working. If the contract is getting more and more positive or getting more and more negative, it will give us a reaction back. Then we have a return false. That's what the status check does. And status check is not there. So we're gonna handle existing. We're gonna add the status check too. And let me fetch the code for you and be back in a sec. And back with the sec, back with the code. You see, this is the entire function status check. It looks like a lot of lines of code, but there is some copying and pasting going on. So it's not all new code, but we see what's going on, how this works. And I started with, and I will do a commenting. This is a session variable with the current profit, and that's what it's all about. We have three choices. We have, if the current profit is 0.0, which means there's nothing going on either through a stop loss or take profit. Then we have, if the current profit is larger than 0, there's something going on we need to do. And we can check if the current profit is smaller than 0, so we're making a loss, what should there be done? And finally, if none of those three is valid for our current profit, then it just keeps on going and goes back to the original loop of handling an existing contract. So the loss is the easiest one. There's nothing going on. Just return the return 2. And I see there's an internal positive counter 0. We don't need that at this point anymore. So we're going to delete this. We only need to know if there is still a contract going on, and if the book continue needs to stay as true, and if so, then it will return. Back to our status check, we have three options. 0.0, which means there's nothing going on, larger than 0, smaller than 0. If there is nothing going on, then you see I have calculate new profit balance. I'm gonna not discuss this in this video, but I want to do that in the next video because it is a new thing, but not essential for the working of the bot. The same counts also for the log contract end. This is also a function what I only use to log every contract I do. I will discuss that one too in the last video I'm gonna make. Then we have a session positive counter becomes 0, a session negative counter becomes 0, and a session book continue becomes false. These three session variables are all done with the profit being nothing, as in there's nothing going on. Then the positive counter becomes 0, the negative counter becomes 0, the book continue becomes false. That's the main part of this if function, as in there's nothing going on, there's no contract open, let's go, let's check for the next possible opening to open a new contract. Then we have the possibility that if there is a current contract and that is positive, so it's larger than 0, it's making money for us, that's what we want, then the positive counter it gets increased by 1. So it's 0, it's become 1, and for 1 it gets 2, and for 2 it gets 3, etc., every minute. Then if And I'm gonna take a look at this entire if. Yes, we can. If the positive counter reaches a higher number than higher or equal to 9, 0 to 9 means 10 minutes. If there is 10 minutes a positive balance, so we're growing in our profit, and the profit has not reached the take profit maximum, so maybe it's gonna be take profit, but maybe it's also going down. So 10 minutes is a long time for a position not to reach a stop loss or a take profit. But in this case, if there is 10 minutes, no other action than only growing, then we're gonna close the position. I have a calculate. I'm gonna disable this one. But then we're gonna close the position and this log contract. I'm gonna log it too. Now we're gonna close the position with the contract ID we fetched. So if there is a grow in our profit and it is still growing after 10 minutes, close the position. We have profit. Don't do anything else. Don't try to get even more profit. We have profit and that's it. Close it down. We're happy. Go on with the next position. Wait for the next moment to open a new position, and hopefully that one will also be profitable. That's what we're doing in this part of the code, if the counter is larger than 9. We also see that the close position is red underlined. This means we have not connected with the API to get this function. So we're going to do this first. Connecting to the API. There is a get open, create open, get open. So now I got the close position. It's there. We already talked about it in the earlier video where we created these positions. We created the connection with the API. So it's already open. So this is what happens if there is a 9-10 minute window of going up, 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 and up. At the same time, we also check if the balance is negative. If it's smaller than 0, so not the balance, the profit. If the profit is smaller than 0, we're going to do the same thing right here. We're going to increase the negative counter. And if the negative counter, this one, if the negative counter is larger than 9, just like the positive counter, if the negative counter is larger than 9 after 10 minutes, then calculate the new for the next video. Close the position, log this one also for the next video, and then we calculate the new profits and the session will be put in as a false. And we didn't do this here right either. Okay. Yeah. Now this one turns red. Yeah, okay. I give it that one there too. This one too. Okay. Back up. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. Yes. We were negative, yes, negative 10 minutes. And in the negative, if there is a negative closer position, calculate the new total profit, put the positive counter to 0. And why I have the positive counter to 0? This should be the negative counter to 0. It's always good to review your code. Put the negative counter to 0 and put the continue to false, as in we have closed the position. Let's check if we have a new opportunity. So both parts of this function do the same, although one works with the positive and the other one works with the negative. Then I will explain to you something else, and that's what I skipped. I skipped this one, and I skipped the same one, this one down here, because what I did was not to keep on counting until 10 minutes and then close whatever the position was. No, what I did was, if there is a negative or there is a positive position, so the profit is getting positive or the profit getting negative, then reset. If there was a negative profit for 2 minutes or 3 minutes and the market turns around and the negative becomes a positive, then the positive counter will be increased by 1 and the negative counter will be resetted to 0. So if it goes down again to a negative, it has again 10 minutes to get back up to the positive side. The same I have in this side. If there is a negative counter plus 1, so there is a negative position, after it was a positive position, then the positive counter gets resetted too. So no matter on which side something happens, if there is a switch in the market going up or going down, both of the counters will be resetted if necessary. Status check gives us a current profit, a lot of information about what's going on, but essentially it checks if the current profit is positive or the current profit is negative, and if so, then it will act on it. Is it 10 minutes positive? Close it. If it's 10 minutes negative, close it. Has it closed on its own because it is a stop loss or it is a take profit, then it will give also back a false. When it's, then we're getting back to handling an existing contract. And handling an existing contract, and we're gonna do this one all at once. If the status check does not return a false for the book continue, so it's still true, then you get this else function, as in nothing has changed. Update the screen, give us a hold, and wait 60 seconds, and then check again. If there was a stop loss, a take profit, or the 10 times positive of negative counter, then we have a false book continue. And if so, calculate the new balance. Put the session contract advice on closed. There was a closed one. And then we have eventually calculating the total profit and log this one. And again, for the other one, also calculate everything and log. And if it has calculated the profits, it's gonna update the screen for us. And in our screen update, we can see exactly what's going on. The update screen we still need to create. And to do so, we need to go back to our main window file. And this is the main window file. And if you remember this main window, we also did a lot of copy and paste, but this is the window we actually use to communicate with the user, but there's only one user, So we don't need to communicate with a lot of users, but in this instance, it's only one user. Although I use the bot and show it on Twitch, so if somebody is into the market and wants to use the bot as maybe not the leading, but as an indicator, as in should I buy or should I sell, it could be, because it's on Twitch, and that's the whole meaning of just look at it, and if you can profit from it, it's fine with me. Why should I be the only one who profit from it? So we need to update the screen so that everybody knows what is the bot doing. And for that, we need a new function that's called, how wonderful, is a update screen function. Whoa, typo. And let me fetch the code for that one too. And this is the code of the update of the screen update screen, I call it. And in this function, I update the screen to the user. What does it do? It creates a default coloring site for the window. By default, the window is, we open it here, white smoke everywhere. So it opens also the update screen with a white smoke. The widget background is white stroke, and the widget foreground is, the foreground as in the text is black. I already did this up there, but this is the update of the screen. So I start by default with these colors as the screen updates. Why? Well, at a certain point, some wrote, there could be that the contract advice is a buy, or the contract advice is a sell. Then the color of the window changes. At a buy, it changes into green, and at a sell, it changes into a red. And if it's not a buy or it's not a sell, so it's a none or it is a hold or neutral, then it falls back to its default colors as being white smoke. So that's why you see this. Then now the daytime now, and the daytime now we need to update our screen. I want to go something down a bit. The update daytime now makes a string from the current date and time, so we can show that in our update screen. That's right down here. Then there is a session in comment, and this is a test setting, because I could not wait every time until there is a contract advice buy or sell. So if I needed to test this one, so we can delete this one. Then we actually get the colors based on the condition. So if the advice is a buy, make it green. If it's a sell, make it red, and update the colors of the window. That's what's happening in this first part. The second part of this is updating the frame widgets. So the current candle, the oldest candle, the current advice, everything we placed in our main window, all the labels and all the placeholders, current contract, the size, the profit label, the take profit, the stop loss would be there. Yeah, all these widgets with information need to be updated with the most recent information. And that's what happened in the second part. In the second part, we get the account information. We do this by calculating the current balance, by getting the current balance. There he is, balance, and then calculating our total profit since the application since the bot started at a certain point. And the total profit will be calculated with the current balance minus the start balance gives us the total profit, and the total profit will be displayed along our update screen as in total profit. For each and every widget, we have a pair created in dictionary. So every widget we have gets this dictionary update. And you see everyone has a current candle open label and a placeholder current candle. For each and every widget you see, label, placeholder, label, placeholder, label, placeholder. For each of one, we have an update in this dictionary. And some of them are red. The MACD label and the histogram label are red, and the negative label is red too, the rest not. That's because they are new in the update screen and not yet implemented in the real screen for this version I show on YouTube. For the version I have actually working is this the code from. So it's the newest and updated code versus the code I started with a couple of weeks ago. But it's not a problem for you if you're coding along. Just update your labels like I told you, this one with the current labels, or update your placeholders, your widgets in your main screen. You can match them. It's not that hard to do. Then this final part we have right here is to update every placeholder and every label with the new information sent to it. And this new information is not only the color, widget foreground and widget background, and the label, widget foreground and widget background, but also the new text. And the text it should display are the text we see here as lost. All the session variables are also given on in the dictionary to open with. And that session is the one we send along in the update of the screen. This is the function update screen. I will leave it a few minutes, a few seconds, because it doesn't take that much to press pause in YouTube. And same counts for the final one. If you want to code along, you have this, and the final part down there. Back to the contracts, back to this one. We have the status check, we have the other information, we have the update screen, and now we need to connect the update screen to the contracts, and that's simple by adding it all the way up there. From main window, import update screen. Now those two are connected, and we can use the update screen in our contract file. Yeah, no red lines anymore. Handling an existing contract is finished. We didn't talk about the new profit balance and the logging. That's what I'm going to do in the next video. If you want to see how it goes for that one, why we do need those. And we're getting back down to the original setup contract to look what we need to do. We did fetch some candles. We get the balance and the number of candles. Then we had if the Boolean continue is not true, it's then we can go for a contract advice. We want to implement our strategy, as in look at if it's sensible to open a position, to create a contract on the market, either buy or sell, long or short. If so, if we think it should be a buy or should be a sell, handle a new contract. We discussed that one in the last video. And if there is a contract open, then handle an existing contract. We did discuss this in this video. And update the screen any way it should be. And that's the entire bot. That's everything that happens during a 60 seconds action. What we did not discuss yet is these extras, if functions, and the close position, and the logging, and the calculation, etc. I want to do that one specifically in the final video. I hope you learned something. I hope you find the explanation of how the bot works useful. And if you do, please like the video. And while you're down there, also press subscribe. If you want to talk to me about the bot or about the market or about anything related to this, you can find me on Twitch every day. The times are on the Twitch channel. And I also have a Discord server where you can reach me on, where you can ask me about the bot or any other videos I created on YouTube. Feel free to drop in to give comments on. Why not? Give me tips. Tell me what to do. Tell me what not to do. Feel free. Just be with me on this project, and I will show you how this will continue. For now, have fun.